YouTube, what is going on? PPS here. You can see we got another guest in the house today. Mr. John, how you doing?
Living the dream, guys. How about you?
We're rolling. Coming off our NBA on Wednesday, which was good. Coming off of last week's profitable week in NFL. I know Monotone, you crushed it last week, NFL.
Yeah, man, we had another good week. You know, it's the playoffs, right? It's what we get excited for. It's kind of that. I knew I was going to have a good week last week. You know, you have that energy all week long. I feel like we got that same energy again this week. So I'm excited to run it back, have another great one.
Yeah, I'm just a little nervous now. Last week I got to go through a playoff week with not my team playing, so I just could look at props. Now my Packers are in play. I'm nervous, always nervous for these types of games. The 49ers are going to be a tough one this week. But, we'll look over last week's bets quick. I believe we went 4-1, and the only loss was me deciding to go against my always rule of betting unders on Jimmy Garoppolo. I decided to bet an over, and he went under. So, I was 5-1 on Jimmy G unders and decided to go over, and I deserve that L for sure. So it was just unfortunate.
Yeah, man, that's part of the game, I mean, maybe we'll get it back this week. Who knows? Maybe someone's on Jimmy G under. I don't know. I wouldn't hate that one. I can't argue with that. Jimmy G under's been a cash cow here. Same boat as Hunter Renfrow or Nick Chubb. He's a Hall of Famer here, so we can't.
He's hurt too. I mean, we don't know how. He might be really hurt. We don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's a huge part of it too. I mean, he did not look good in that second half last week, and that's when the supposed shoulder injury happened. So
you know what a dead giveaway is whenever you see their beat writers, they'll put video of him in practice saying he looks fine. Look at the zip on the ball, and then they show him throw it, but they don't show it where it went or anything. It's just a side view. You're I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We're just going to do what we did last week, kind of just run through each game, a little breakdown on each. If we have a side lean, talk about that. And then at the end of it, we'll drop our props for each game. We got quite a few props, most of them looking in the most fun game of the week in that Chiefs Bills game. That one's going to be definitely the most exciting. I saw 55-point total now.
Yeah,
so it is climbing. Those are the over centrals right there.
Mm-hmm. That's a prop better's dream right there, right? That's what we all live for.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a couple guys in the chat. C. Martin, let's go. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's going to be a fun week. We'll just get right into it. Our first game of the week is going to be Bengals at Titans. John, do you have any thoughts on this game?
I like Burrow's passing yards over. You could do the ladders at FanDuel, 300s, plus 130, 325s, close to plus 200. I don't see how he doesn't do that, just because I bet you the Titans play with a lead, and at the same time, I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to run on them the same way they've been able to do other teams. So when that happens, I mean, it's Burrow time. And at the end of the day, too, the Titans can't cover receivers, and that's what the Bengals have. I think only one team gave up more receiving yards to the wideouts this year. It was the Vikings. So, I mean, it just feels like 300 is kind of low, especially for plus money, and then just the environment too.
Yeah, man. I mean, watching Joe Burrow these last couple of weeks, right? If anyone wasn't a believer before, I think we're all on board now, right? Joe Burrow's quite obviously one of the best up-and-coming quarterbacks in the league right now. Clearly the most improved player, comeback player, whatever we call that.
Yeah, I think he might be good.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, hard to disagree right here. But all that being said, I am still fading the Bengals. You guys probably know this. I've been doing this a lot this year. I felt very good about my Raiders bet last week. I re-upped at plus 13 live last week and got that in very easily. I'm super pumped to once again go against the Bengals right here. It may not be sexy, it may not be pretty, but I do think they will be able to outlast this Bengals team. And a huge reason is really that rest mismatch. Not only did they have the first round bye, the Titans did, but they also had a late season bye. They're now getting AJ Green or Brown, back to full health. Don't want AJ Green on this team. We got Julio.
He's fishing.
Who doesn't look like a corpse for the first time in a couple weeks. He looked okay last week. We got Derrick Henry back, which is the biggest one. That suddenly opens up the play action game, and that is really the name of the game right here is play action passing. Once those defenses have to respect Derrick Henry in that box. Because guess what, guys? If you look at the advanced metrics, the Titans actually, their running game didn't get that much worse with Foreman in. If you look at the numbers, it's actually almost identical. The biggest difference is that offense got so much less efficient because there was no respect for Foreman. You can let that guy run on you. It doesn't really matter. When Derrick Henry's in the game, those boxes are absolutely stacked. Every single person in the game is waiting for Derrick Henry to break one of those big runs. And I think that really lets the Titans do a lot in their game planning. Vrabel's a great coach. I have a lot of faith in him, and I think the Titans will win this game outright and cover the spread.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on this. I'm leaning towards the Titans as well at home. Obviously, the Henry news is huge. And both of our props that we're going to be rolling with kind of fit that mold of the Titans kind of having control of that game. So we'll go right into Monotone's prop right here. I believe you have a half unit play in this one.
Yeah. So Ryan Tannehill, longest completion over 34.5 yards. I kind of sat on this one for a while. I was thinking, do I want to bet this? Like if you look at Tannehill's game logs, the way I kind of wrote this in my notes is I'll list all the negatives for you guys real quickly here. He's only gone over this in 9 of 17 games this season, so that's just over 50%. You normally want a little bit higher of a hit rate. Additionally, when you look at his playoff game log, he's never thrown for more than 210 passing yards in his career. But once we dive a little bit deeper, I think this actually becomes a really good prop. In the games where he played with Derrick Henry, so he played 7 games this season with Derrick Henry, he actually went over in 5 of these 7 games, which is obviously a very nice hit rate. And then you look at those playoffs. Well, he never threw for 210 passing yards. That's correct. But he did go over this in 3 of his 4 career playoff games. And in one of those games, he only threw for 88 freaking yards. He had 88 total yards, but he actually still cashed this player prop. The play action game, like I said before, is so live right here. A.J. Brown is a yards after catch monster. Julio Jones still is able to make those downfield catches. And we know the Titans, they love to have that random guy, like Anthony Ferkser might catch like a 30-yard bomb. Who knows? So I feel very good about this one. I think the game script also, if they do fall behind, they're obviously going to have to pass against the Bengals. So I feel pretty good about Tannehill kind of chucking a bomb downfield and someone going up and getting it.
Yeah, I love that play. We got a couple questions in here. We'll shoot this over to you, John. What is the best resource you use when you look at like matchups or besides just looking at straight game logs? Do you have anything you look at?
No. I don't know. You just watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I always say, like, I don't know, stats are kind of they're for losers, man. Like you're gonna overthink everything and just I don't know. Just watch the games. You'll see little things here and there and just go with that. But I don't know. I'm sure there's people smarter than me that have things they look at, but I don't.
Yeah, and I mean, just backing up on that too, right? Like there's so many people paid to have opinions, right? Like even us up here to a certain extent, there's kind of like pundits everywhere that are going to tell you guys kind of what to think, but you really do want to trust yourself above everything else, right? I know these guys up here with me aren't like scrolling through articles. Someone disagrees with us. We're like, dang it. I can't post this anymore. Like, you got to trust what you see more than anything else. But to answer that question too, analyzing matchups, I think StatMuse is a great website. I don't know how familiar you guys are. You can pretty much just search in the little bar whatever you want and it'll tell it to you. So I love that. I also love looking at DVOA, which is provided by Football Outsiders, and it pretty much tells you it ranks every team based on a numerous amount of metrics on defense, offense, and what they do well. So I like looking over there too, just to give you a couple stats, but beyond the mental sims, the famous mental sim,
the mental simulations. Yeah, just watch the game, and then I don't know, you kind of see what teams like to do, what they want to try to do. Because everything's a different situation a lot of times too. Like you can't just look at, what happened this game, that's going to happen next time. Well, if the team's playing from ahead this time and they weren't last time, then like it's not the same game.
And before we move on to little insider secret right here, right? Most people, when they're typing up their picks and they just randomly at the end add, I have this player projected for blah, blah, blah. They don't have a projections model. That person is just bullshitting you. John is one of the only people out here that's, acknowledging the mental sims, because that's what most of your favorite cappers are running right now. They're mental sims.
He's going to get 3.4 receptions. Like, that's not even possible. It's either 3 or 4. Like you can't get 3.4 receptions. Like no one's ever done that ever.
Exactly.
It's dumb. It's just, I don't know. It's just dumb.
All right, I won't keep us up anymore. You can get into your play PPS right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Let me. I'll get my play in here. I'm honestly kind of in the same boat as you. I'm just going a different route. I'm actually going to go with an under here on AJ Brown receptions. Obviously, Monotone talked about it. Henry being back is huge. 73% run block advantage this week. And what John talked about here with Burrow being as good as he is, you got to keep him off the field. That's pretty much the only way you're going to stop him is keeping him on the sideline. Ideally, right, we think about the ideal game for the Tennessee Titans is Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball 20 to 25 times and Derrick Henry running the ball, Foreman running the ball. And in wins this year for the Titans, AJ Brown's 7-4 to the under when they're winning the game. So I'm honestly leading towards the Titans. So I would think that would be the number I would be looking at there. He does have a good matchup advantage, but another thing what Monotone said in his was he has great yards after the catch. So when we're getting big yards after the catch and they're not like the 4 or 5 yard routes, AJ Brown isn't running those. He's running the deeper routes, deep crosses, obviously making people miss. He's an absolute monster of a human being out there. Him and Derrick Henry both on the same field has got to be scary for opponent defenses. But another thing too is talking about the games. The last 3 games here for Bengals run defense. Okay, so just kind of what the Titans are going to want to do is last game of the season, the Browns had 41 carries for 205. Josh Jacobs had over 6 yards a carry last week. If they didn't fall behind, they probably would have been able to keep that game way closer and probably maybe get the W. And then 2 weeks, the last week against the Chiefs, Damian Williams had 88 and 2 touchdowns on these guys on the ground. So if the Titans have their way, they're only throwing the ball like 20 to 22 times. And I'm going to take my chances on the under 6 catches for AJ Brown.
Yeah, he's definitely a yards guy, not a receptions guy.
100. I tell that to people all the time. There's certain kind of players that these guys don't pile up receptions. You know, they do their work actually gaining those yards. And additionally, we talk about this all the time, but we really want to be on the side of what the coaches want to do in these kind of games. And if AJ Brown, I've done it again, keeps having those, you know, I got flashbacks apparently, but if he has one of those 110, 120 yard games, the Titans are probably in bad shape. They don't want to be a passing attack. They really, really want to slowly grind this team out, keep Henry on the field, get those touchdowns, kind of like how San Francisco likes to play at a real slow pace, grind the game out and get the win in the end. So
boring football.
Well, you know, to each their own, right? I've watched a lot of 49ers. We'll get into that in the next game, though.
That's why they threw him as the first game of the weekend, right? That's why they got to get him out of the way early. A couple guys here. Thanks for the insight. Yes, appreciate you swinging in here and talking to us here. You guys, this is another question here from Simon. Do you guys have a favorite receiver from the Bengals this week?
Jamar Chase. He's been targeted double digits in his last 3 games. Like every game that matters. Like I don't count week 18 just because they weren't playing, but yeah, he's been targeted double digits. You can tell Burrow like that they have something. I don't even know what it is. It's I think the shower narrative. I think's what's going on. Like it's like, dude, they're definitely in tune with each other.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, yeah. You know, the Rams got the breakfast narrative, Bengals got the shower narrative. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's hard to not like Chase. Like it's real. Like these guys are clearly like have that connection you spoke about. And when it comes to any important game of the year, look at the stat sheet. Jamar Chase ended up having a good game. It's hard for me to pick against him, honestly. I like guys like Tyler Boyd, you know, they're very good, but it's clear that in the way the Bengals want to play this type of football, Chase is kind of the guy I would also pick out of the 300%.
Yeah, whatever happened to T. Higgins? He had like those 3 weeks, and then then just doesn't get the ball anymore.
Like, he's legit too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good receiver, and it's just like, but there's that whole Chase Burrow thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, every week my mind tells me that, you know, there's going to be some harsh coverage. Everyone's going to hone in on Chase, and it's finally going to be the Higgins week, right? My mind tells me that every week, and it never happens. So I'm just not confident it's going to start now, despite the fact that I like T. Higgins a lot. I think he's a great receiver out of Clemson.
Looks like we got a Brown under 6.5 at points, but I don't know if I'd eat that juice. I'm comfortable with the 5.5, but obviously would like the 6.5 too if I could get that. I just don't know.
Find something to parlay that with.
Yeah, I like that spot a lot. But now we're going to move on to obviously my game of the week here. 49ers at Packers. We'll swing it over to you, Monotone. What is your thoughts for this game? Are you leaning a side? You leaning a spread? What are you thinking? I know with that smirk, I kind of have an idea.
Yeah, man. So this is a tough game for me, right? The beginning of the week, I'm sitting there. I see it open at +3.5, +4. And I'm like, I'm not betting, the Niners at 3.5 against the Packers. We've seen the week evolve. It got up to 6. It even hit 6.5 at a certain point. I'm going to be taking the 49ers this week. It's a tough matchup. I really thought about this one all week, honestly, but it's kind of a classic example of two teams playing against each other, and both teams are able to exploit their opponent's weakness, right? So the big weakness for this 49ers is going to be that passing game, and who better to exploit, or pass defense, and who better to exploit that pass defense than the best quarterback in the league and the best wide receiver in the league. I want to acknowledge the weaknesses to my argument before I get into it a little bit more. But I do really like the 49ers because while that may be a weakness, their strength is also, as we all know, as we bet on every week, this is practically an Elijah Mitchell fan club at this point. It's running the ball. And the Packers haven't had to face too many tough rush defenses, but when you look at all the advanced metrics, they're not very good against running teams. They're ranked 30th in rush DVOA and ranked 28th in EPA per play against the run. So they really do struggle against good running backs. And we saw this recently with Nick Chubb. He put up 120 on him just a couple weeks ago. These Packers don't face too many good run defenses. I see you smiling over there. I'm sure he has. Oh my God, I'm about to get. I normally don't go against the Packers on this show, but I feel very good that the run game, the short passing game, Jimmy G isn't going to make an interception that ruins the game like most people think.
Ooh, that's bold. That is a bold statement.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm in on the 49ers. I was so in on them last week. I still think it's another great matchup. I think this team could win it all this year. I know it's not quite a popular take, but I'm a very big 49ers.
They're not on the list.
Yeah, I've seen your list of Super Bowl contenders. I haven't seen 49ers pop yet.
They didn't make the list. Not yet, though. The list always evolves. You never know what can happen.
It's because nobody wants this, right? Nobody wants to watch that 10-minute drive that the 49ers do on every single game where they slowly go down the field, but I love that shit. Shanahan is such a good coach. I said this last week. He was going to coach circles around the Dallas coach McCarthy, right? And he did that very easily.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Like, he's going to roll this idiot.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm the biggest hater of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
ever.
he is just, oh.
So while LaFleur might be a better in-game decision maker than Shanahan is, I do believe Shanahan is a significantly better game planner. I think if Shanahan is able to keep this game on script, then I think the 49ers will not only be able to cover this game, but win it outright. Last thing before I throw it over to PPS, the Packers play close games. They do this all the time. Out of every team, look at the margin of victory for the best teams in football. It's almost a touchdown. For the Packers, it's like 4. They beat good teams, but it's not normally by more than 5, more than 6. So I feel very comfortable taking the 2 slowest teams in the league, or 2 of the top 5 slowest teams, to play a close game. That's what I'm betting on right here. 49ers might not win. I think they do, but I think they will definitely cover.
John, you got a lean in this one? Packers probably by 2 scores, but I'm just kidding, man. No, I think the Packers end up winning the game. They have Aaron Rodgers, and the 49ers have Jimmy Garoppolo. But that's what's going to end up like, you're going to watch some slugfest, rock fight, and then boom, Jimmy Garoppolo blows it. Aaron Rodgers takes advantage, like something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think the 49ers can run all over them, and that's what's going to keep them in. Like they're going to be able to run the ball. So, but then at the end of the day, I don't know, man. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers. That's a problem.
Yeah, I will not. I don't need to go into my side. I'll do it when we do my prop for this game. My biggest thing is if Jimmy G does what he did last week to letting the Cowboys back into that game, if that game happens and Rodgers has the ball with 40 seconds left, no timeouts, Rodgers is finding a way to score that ball. It doesn't matter. I've seen it so many times where that guy, if it's 30 seconds or more and he has a timeout and all we need is 80 yards, this dude is a wizard. I don't even know how he does it.
He's not going to throw a pick either the whole game. You know, so it's like they don't give you anything free.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Do you have any props that you like in this game, John? Nothing official, but do you have anything that you looked at, maybe waiting for a line for or something?
I wrote something on Deebo Samuel, rushing yards, 34.5. They gave him 10 carries last week. They got 8 the week before. I mean, he's getting carries. It's not like the 4 or 5, just kind of get you off balance type stuff. So I don't know. If they can run the ball, he should get this. But like I said, 34.5 feels kind of low. I wouldn't want to YOLO it, even though I do want to YOLO it. The 40 plus, 50 plus, it's like, where do you end, 60 plus, like you're going to need a big run in there somewhere so he just doesn't get that kind of volume. But I don't know, man. Like betting against Deebo is a bad idea.
I agree. He's gonna be hard. I think he's definitely gonna be the hardest guy to stop on that side of the ball for sure. We'll throw it over to you, Monotone. I'll let you get your official prop in before I get to my 2 right after you.
Yeah, so I grabbed a nice line on this one. It was laying at 90. I tweeted out last night because I was worried it wasn't going to stand. So Monotone Football on Twitter, if you missed out on that one, it's still 93, 94 in most spots, which I feel very comfortable. Also, like John famously does, pull that one up to 100, pull that one up to 115, pull that one up to 120. Adams is the best receiver in football. I feel pretty comfortable saying that. When we look at the 49ers, I'm a big fan of Mosley. I know not a lot of people know about him. I targeted him specifically earlier in the year when I went under on DK Metcalf in their matchup, and it worked very well. Mosley is big. He was injured for a lot of the year, so a lot of people do have bad kind of images of that Niners secondary, but I do think it is improved. That being said, once again, Adams is still, his route running is incredible. Even bracket coverage, I mean, he sees it every week at this point, and the guy's still putting up insane numbers. His past playoff numbers are very good, as we all know. And then additionally, he's played the 49ers 5 times in his career, once earlier in the season, and he dominated them in every single game. I don't see a reason why this is going to stop, despite the fact that I do think the Niners still can pull this one off. It's going to be very, very hard to stop Davante Adams this week. I think he goes over 125 yards. I could very well see that.
Yeah, the latter one in here, definitely. I already added my 2 plays to the bottom here. I'm just going to click them both here. I have Rodgers over 24.5 completions. And I have Rodgers over 260.5 yards. The 260.5 is DK exclusive. I've been seeing 263 most places. But, man, all right. Let's I'll finally give you my argument for the Packers here as well. The Packers are going to throw this ball around. San Francisco obviously is known for their run defense there. So the biggest thing for me, this is my biggest thing, the number one thing, is all of the Packers that are going to be returning this week. All of the Packers that we haven't even had, and we almost forgot we had them, right? We're bringing back Jair Alexander, obviously a Pro Bowl player, bringing back Zadarius Smith, obviously a Pro Bowl player who hasn't played. I think the 2 biggest are going to be Bakhtiari and Billy Turner, both of our linemen there. Billy Turner was playing fantastic last year when he was with us. Bakhtiari, obviously number 1 or number 2 ranked tackle in the NFL. And Rodgers at home. I mean, that it's so hard to fade him at home. We're going to his last 5 home games. He had 29 completions for almost 300 on the Vikings, 24 completions. Didn't really need to do anything in the second half against the Browns and almost pissed that away. Obviously, I understand your point on the cover there, Monotone, for that reason, because they were up like 20 in that game. He had 29 completions for 350 against the Bears, 307 versus the Rams, and 292 versus Seattle. All of those, obviously, coming at Lambeau Field. It's actually not awful here in Wisconsin. It's like 8 degrees, but the sun's out. So I think this weekend or tomorrow is supposed to be like 11 degrees, and the sun will be out. So, I mean, for mid to end of
the
January,
beach.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'm going to wear just a little sweatshirt and I'll be okay. But the thing too is Cobb is coming back, who I really like. I think that's going to be important here and we're probably not going to see much Scantling. Maybe his unders is a play for stuff for catches or something, because I think that with how Lazard has started to break out these last few weeks, he's going to take over that Scantling role, and we're going to see Cobb kind of slide into that slot spot that Lazard was kind of running out of. Obviously, this helps out. Monotone's bet is Devontae Adams, according to Pro Football Focus, 99.5% matchup advantage this weekend. Number one by over 5%. Nobody's even really close to him. And I really I don't know how they're going to stop him. And the biggest stat that came out of the Niners game last week was when Jimmy G has a turnover. And when he doesn't have a turnover, they're undefeated, right? And that's what everybody's talking about. Well, he played against the Packers and had a fumble and an interception without Jair Alexander and Zadarius Smith on the field. So I like it. If the Packers get up early, this is going to be a fun game of just watching the Packers blitz the hell out of Jimmy G and seeing what they can do with it. But I'm very excited for this game. I think Rodgers has one of those like 75% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, and adds in a couple of those crazy little rushing yards where he gets the little point down the first down. So I'm rolling with Rodgers in both ways. It's really hard for me to go against him in the playoffs after the sour taste in his mouth last year. It's gonna be fun. It should be fun.
Yeah, betting against Rodgers is kind of like betting against Brady these days. It's real tough. You never feel great about doing it. You always kind of feel like you're on the loser side of it before the game has even started. John said it very eloquently earlier. You got fucking Aaron Rodgers, you got Adams versus Jimmy G, and I accept that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's the Niners' best way to do it, is try to run the ball and keep it out of his hands. Same thing with the Titans to Joe Burrow. So it definitely has both kind of correlated there. And we got a couple questions here. We'll see. John, do you have any thoughts on Jimmy G under 230 passing yards this week?
You had me at Jimmy G and under. You know what I mean? Like, no, the only thing that would stink is if the Packers would get ahead, 2 scores or whatever, and they just the 49ers completely abandon the run game. That'd be the only thing I think that would totally trash that. But that's still such a low number that I would never even bet that. Just not only because it's an under, but that's still a low number too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give me under 250, I'll do that.
Well, I was going to say, this one opened at 245, and I was like, I could do that, and then This guy posted that 229, and it's there everywhere now. I think people are probably worried about that shoulder too, like I said, but yeah.
Thumb's messed up too.
His thumb's been a thing. The shoulder apparently is even worse. I don't know how true those reports are, but I don't know. It's interesting. I'm riding with Jimmy G this week. It'll be a roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, and especially with those 2 injuries, it's going to be cold, man. He's not used to that. So I'm curious how he plays in the cold. Obviously, the first game this year was in San Francisco, so I'm curious how that's gonna treat him.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Lots changed since that last game too. Like you said, I mean, there's a lot of positives for the Packers, but since someone has to represent the 49ers side here, I will also throw in the fact that Trey Sermon was starting at running back that game. His only start of the season. It was forced. It was because of injury. It was because everyone else was out. He was only able to run the ball 10 times for 31 yards. That is not how the 49ers play football. We all know that. Additionally, I forgot what I was going to say, so that's all I have to say.
I think you mentioned Bosa.
Good enough.
Possibly having Bosa in too is a huge
news as well. Sorry. Yeah, what I was also going to go. I just realized. Bosa is a big, right? If Bosa's out, this is rough. Also, if for whatever reason I'm going to throw this out there, if Jimmy G goes out, bet everything you have on the Packers. Like Trey Lance on the road in a playoff game where Shanahan didn't have time to come up with a game plan for him. Oh my God, that's going to be a brutal game. I already think this is probably the most likely to blow out of any of the games, even though I am on the 49ers. I do think if any game were to be a 25-point victory, Rodgers coming in and just steamrolling them.
No, I know what you mean. Like, you like one side, but like they could get waxed too.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I think we've talked about this game a lot. I hope people came out with a good
read on it.
I see there's one more too about, does anyone like anytime touchdown in this game? Do you have any touchdown, John? Any touchdown bets in this one?
No. I mean, Adams, but like the number is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, find something to parlay it with.
Yep, and yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later too. And I guess if you're looking for plus money, I think the best shot you probably have right here, I think Debo makes a lot of sense. Like just with how they use him, he still is plus money on most sites. They'll use him as a running back. They'll use him as a wide receiver. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that too.
My only one, obviously, we will have our touchdown parlay at the end. My favorite one, long shot in this one, is going to be Degura. If they do decide to double Adams in the red zone, which everybody should. I don't understand why they don't. Everybody decides to go one-on-one, and guess what? They run that little out every single time.
Every time.
I literally say it's going to happen, and Adams scores every single week doing that. It's the same route. I don't get it. But if they double him, I think Degura has a chance to score. I won't be surprised if that's like plus 300 or something because he hasn't scored much. But if San Francisco's not dumb, they would probably decide to send a second guy at Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Okay, wait, one last then. What do you guys think about Randall Cobb? He obviously hasn't played in a while, but we all know how much Rodgers loves Cobb. Like he made him trade for this guy. I mean, maybe I'm biased. Like 20 minutes ago, I saw an interview where Randall Cobb's like crying, talking about how much he loves the Packers and how excited he is to play and how he's been waiting for it for like 7 weeks, So Cobb seems good to go to me. I think him, to score a touchdown is not that crazy.
Got a reception number on him?
Yeah. That's what my next thing is. What is it?
2.5 receptions. I think.
Yeah, I mean that's
tasty.
Minus 110. Yeah, that should happen actually.
Yeah, because like I said, I think they're gonna get enough of MVS's stuff where he gets hit in the hands probably at least once a game and it drops. So Cobb isn't going to do that. So
MVS is doubtful too. So he probably won't even.
I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That's even better for Cobb then. Then I won't even have to worry about it. All right, let's move on to the next game. We have Rams at Buccaneers coming up here. We'll start off with John. Do you got a lean to the side in this one, or anything that you might have circled? Nothing official, but
I think the Bucs are going to win this game. I don't know. Like the line's kind of 3, and then now it's kind of moving the other way. So that's kind of scary. I would say player prop. You could go Mike Evans, receiving yards. Brady's looked at him a lot the last couple of weeks. I think like 17 times in 2 weeks, that's a lot for Evans. As far as the Rams, there's too many of them. That's my problem with them. And I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. Cooper Kupp's number is so high always. Beckham, same thing. His yardage total is a little higher now. I think it's in the 50s, which is kind of a no-go for me. Higbee, they got up there too. So that's a tough spot, man. But Evans, I would say that. I think it's like 69.5. I think you could get 80 for plus money on FanDuel, which that's not bad. Like, you got to have something on the game. So figure it out, right? Like you can't just not bet it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. This is an interesting game, right? Once again, we went from Rodgers to Brady to, legends, obviously. I'm going with the Rams right here. It looks like I came ready to argue today. One thing I did notice, though, is John did touch on it. He said that they're probably not going to be able to run on the Bucs, and I agree. Everyone on Twitter now is suddenly pulling out these random advanced metrics to try to prove in like niche situations that the Bucs run defense sucks now. That's not true. I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with it feels like when we all accept something as common, there are always those, number guys that are obsessed with proving us wrong. And now every time I write about the Bucs, people are like, oh, that run defense isn't very good. It still is good. Vita Vea still is the best interior defensive lineman outside of Aaron Donald in the league. He's great run stopper. So I don't know. I don't know where that whole notion is coming from that the Bucs can't stop the run, but I don't even think that'll matter, honestly. This Bucs team is injured, man. We're going to rely pretty much this week on Mike Evans in one-on-one coverage, right, with Jalen Ramsey, and then we're going to depend on 50-year-old Gronk, who retired. I mean, Gronk's good, but still, let's put some context on it. And then who else do we got? Tyler Johnson, 5th-round draft pick.
Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, Cameron Brate's there. I think O.J. Howard was still on this team. He
had one catch last week.
He caught a ball.
2 yards. Yep.
I mean, first-round pick, so maybe, I don't know. The point is this team is real depleted. I think the Rams will be able to pick them apart. And I think if this becomes a shootout, I don't really think that favors the Bucs at this point. I think that Rams defense can get real scary. The way you beat Brady, we all know this, is to get pressure on Brady.
Yes.
They have Aaron Donald on this team. I think they can do it.
Yeah, and that game last week was huge. We saw Wirfs go off the field and then try to go back in. If he's out, they're screwed. I really
very big.
It's
Very big.
all coming down to you believe in Matt Stafford. If you believe in Matt Stafford, you ride the Rams, because I think the Rams defense is better than Tampa Bay's. Obviously, we seen what happened when Evans got matched up with Lattimore for those years. He was getting cooked. He couldn't beat him. And I'm curious how he's going to do against Jalen Ramsey this week, because Jalen Ramsey going to probably talk more shit to him than Lattimore was. I guarantee you that. That man's going to get in his head. John, the real question is, are either one of these teams on your Super Bowl contender list?
Both of them. Both of these
Oh.
teams can win the Super Bowl. The problem with the Rams is they're frauds.
Yeah.
So that's
They are
the issue. They just beat the Cardinals, so that doesn't even count. Like, I mean, if they were the biggest frauds, there were, but then now that they're gone, the Rams are the biggest frauds. Like, they won't show up somehow. Watch. Like, go back and look at who they beat. You'd be surprised. You're watching, like, who, like, how, like, what's like, who is this team? They have a nice record, whatever, but watch, they're frauds, man.
David guys, watch out for Perriman.
Yeah, they'll get you. The thing we were saying about Ramsey is they don't even like shadow him. They kind of just move him around like that chess piece. So, I mean, who knows? Like, they might try and take away Gronk with him. They might try and take, you know what I'm saying? So Brady's good enough, man. I'm scared of playoff Brady, and especially dude, they're frauds. And Matt Stafford on the road, I mean, he's like Jimmy G-esque. Yeah, he could be.
Just a higher paid version.
Yeah, like, he's better. Don't get me wrong. He's not Jimmy G, but I'm saying, like, game on the line type stuff. Like, I don't know, man. He's not quite Carson Wentz or Jimmy G, but he's still Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm betting on the Rams this week, and I actually kind of agree. They kind of do feel like frauds a bit. There's just something off about this team. I just think the Bucs are getting this injury luck at the wrong time, right? If Wirfs is out or even playing 50%, that's really bad. Wirfs has been
– That's bad, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that matters to me more than Antonio Brown. Like, the offensive line is way more important than a lot of people will let on right here. And, I mean, Wirfs has been his safety, like, protection all year. Like, if everyone else is getting beat all season long, Wirfs isn't right there. That messes with the quarterback when suddenly your rock on the offensive lineman is out of the game. So, like I said, Aaron Donald, you got to get pressure on Brady. That's how every team that's beaten him. That's why the Saints are so good against Brady every year, because they just blitz the fuck out of him and he kind of comes up short.
Here's what I'll say, though. You'll take the Rams and you'll feel confident and you'll have all this, what you're saying. You'll have that in your pocket and you're like, cool, yeah, they'll just blitz him, fine. And then he'll throw short all day, like literally get the ball out of his hand in 1 second to, like, Gio Bernard will have like 10 catches for, like, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's like, how, you know what I mean? Like, how did I just lose to Brady in the playoffs and I backed Matt Stafford? You know what I mean? Like, that's I'm just scared of him. So I can't take a side, just because I do kind of agree with you that, Wirfs not being there and, it's not the best Bucs team there is. So there is a shot for the Rams, but man, I would hate to sit down Saturday and watch him just tear them apart and just and not be on them. You're just like, damn, what was I thinking?
I mean, you're not wrong. That's just, I feel that way every single week when I bet these losers, but the Raiders, like I said last week, were like one of my favorite bets of the year. They did not end up covering, but when you're that in, you double up live. I paid rent this month with that plus 13.5. Hopefully I can do something similar here. It's tough. These games are real tough. The sharpest of the sharp are making these lines right now, but
Yeah, my one last thing about this game for my end here is I haven't found a Brady completion line, at least on DraftKings when I looked, exactly what John said about those dump downs and 1 yard passes. Like, this just screams like when he was with the Patriots and just destroying them with James White. Obviously, he's a Badger, and that's the exact same thing I can kind of see there. If Fournette comes back, when has Fournette ever caught 7 balls in a game? This dude was catching balls like every single time, at least 5. I had him on my fantasy team, and I'm like, I was not expecting any of that. from him this year. But if we do get a line, I'm thinking like 24.5, 25.5. I couldn't find one on DraftKings when I looked this morning. But I think that's a spot I might be going to.
No, that's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, with the way Brady plays, I mean, I used to call Fournette brick hands, but he's proved me wrong. I had to take back that nickname, actually.
I think he was catching balls like the second to last year in Jacksonville, if you remember right. But he had there was something weird about it. It was like terrible yardage to go with it or something like that. But I remember it's like, wow, hey, he catches the ball, and then now look at him. This is insanity.
Exactly.
3 games down. The biggest one to go. This one, it looks like we got 4 plays in this one. John's got 2 official plays for us in this one. We'll start off. Do you guys have a lean on a side here? We'll start out with Monotone. You got a lean on the side in the Bills at Chiefs today or Sunday.
Yeah, so I've came out kind of swinging on all the guys I like so far. I really do feel confident about those other 3 games. This one is kind of where I go off. I think these 2 teams probably are the 2 best teams in football. Like I feel pretty comfortable saying that one right here. So I think we're going to get a great matchup whichever way we go. I will keep this short. I'll side with the Bills right here. I understand that we are essentially the market is overreacted to the Bills last week. Like what the Bills did was very, very, very insane. Like they absolutely decimated Patriots in a cold weather game against the best coach of all time. They had statistically Josh Allen picked up almost every possible yard he could have. By all advanced metrics, that was the best game of the season, probably the last couple seasons. So I'm betting the Bills on a high right now, which kind of frustrates me. I don't like buying high on teams, which is what it feels like I'm doing, but I still do think the Bills will end up winning this game. Their ceiling is just so high, and it's almost like, those interceptions we used to expect from Josh Allen, we just didn't trust him in our gut. I kind of feel that way about Patrick Mahomes now, but I'll throw it over to you guys and see what you think.
Don, you got a lean in this one?
Not really. I have no idea who's going to – I can't pick a side to save my life anyways. But, I mean, I couldn't imagine being, really, really confident on either one because it's Mahomes and then it's the Bills. I mean, they look good. So we don't know which Bill's going to show up, though. I mean, we've seen him lose to Jacksonville. I mean, that happened. You know what I mean? There's no 2 ways about it. But at the same time, the Chiefs – I mean, does Pittsburgh count? You know what I mean? That game last week, because they suck. So I don't know. I would take the points, but I think it's 1.5 now. Yeah, you're right, Sheeb. I hope I say your name right. Over. Just take the over. When this happens, what I normally do is just take the over.
Yeah, no, this is, I think, 54.5. I think that over still definitely has some value there. And we'll swing it to John. We'll swing it to your first official play, rolling with a Monotone favorite here. We're going to roll with him on this first play for you.
Yeah, Gabriel Davis is nice, man. He's taken over. He's like the number 2 receiver there. Allen likes him a lot. You can tell he had, I think, 2 catches for 41 last week, but they were killing the Patriots. So it wasn't like – you're going to – I mean, they still threw the ball all over the field, but at the same time, I don't think it was the type of game it's going to be this week. I mean, they're going to have to be throwing literally the whole time. I would be shocked if he doesn't get one that's close to this number, just one ball. So, I mean, he could get this with 1 catch, although, I mean, I like it usually 27.5 when I say stuff like that, but 30.5, that's 31-yard catch. He could get that. If not, I mean, I bet he catches 3 balls, and I highly doubt that it's going to be less than 30.5 yards.
Well, Sheeb said you got it exactly right. Well done. He says that
Thank you, Sheeb. You're the man.
So
or if you're a girl, that's cool too.
Can the books give me a longest reception on this guy? That's kind of my thing. I love these longest reception props. Gabe Davis, like you said, is the perfect guy for that. I mean, he's averaging, 17 yards a catch on the season. Give me a longest reception somewhere, man.
He's definitely a yard guy. Taking his reception props is always scary. You can get him. Remember, we were getting 1.5 for plus money, and then it was 2.5 for plus 130, and you're like,
that's too much.
I'm confident he can get me 2, but man, 3. That's a lot. But then you watch the games and you see that they're just throwing the ball way down the field to him. But now he's kind of like, he'll get a fade on the goal line now. Like he could get a crossing route in the red zone. So it's not just the long stuff. That's why I like this so much.
Perfect. We'll go to you, Monotone. You have a little sprinkle play here for us in this one. So we'll get to yours right here.
Yeah, I have a lot of bets this week, so I kind of just tossed a quarter unit on this one, but I got to trust my gut right here. It's Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception. Both of these teams, I've kind of said it all week, the first team to kick a field goal loses this game. That's kind of how I'm viewing it. Both teams are going to have to pull out those hyper-aggressive play calling, schemes that they have saved for these kind of huge games. And hyper-aggressive play calling means Mahomes is going to be taking these shots down the field. Kelsey doesn't quite look good, or not great. He looks not in form, right, from what we've seen over the last 5 years. Same with Tyreek Hill. He looks a step slower out there. I don't know if it's injuries nagging both of those guys. But yeah, we've seen Mahomes really try to fit these balls into tight spaces plenty of times. It works a lot. That's why he's one of the best in the league, but it also doesn't work sometimes. Mahomes was very turnover prone throughout most of the season, and this Bills defense is good. I think they're going to continue to get pressure on Mahomes, force him to make some risky throws, and I think an interception could very well happen. I have this line priced as like minus 125, so to get plus money, plus 105 here, I think it's definitely worth at least a quarter unit to throw on there, because I do think Mahomes is going to throw his second playoff interception of the playoffs so far.
Love it. Love it. I have one play in this one, my biggest play of the week so far, and I'm going to be going with Allen. Straight passing yards, 278, minus 120. I lean the Bills here. I looked at the weather. It looked sunny, 42 degrees. So not really having to worry about the wind game that he had with the Patriots a couple weeks back. We don't have to worry about anything like that. But yeah, it's tough because it's hard to bet on a specific receiver because they have so many weapons. Obviously, with Gabe Davis, he only needs one catch. So, that's one's pretty self-explanatory there. But we have Davis, Beasley, Sanders, Diggs, and Knox on this team. So many weapons. I don't really know who they're going to have. They can't really double anybody with the surgence here of Davis. But there was a game earlier this year against the Chiefs, and he only had 15 completions, and he threw for over 300 yards on this game. So we have guys with absolute great yards after the catch ability. And one of the things I did look into was blitz rate. Obviously, Spagnuolo is known for his blitzing. And I believe they only have 31 sacks on the year for the Chiefs, which I thought was super low. I looked at the number. I had a double take it there a few times. They've also allowed 65% completion rate to quarterbacks and over 4,200 yards passing this season. And now Allen is getting a guy, like I said, who blitzes 28% of the time. And Allen was pressured 7 times last week by the Patriots. His numbers against the pressure last week, he was 5 for 5, 87 yards, 2 touchdown passes. And the 2 other plays carried the ball 2 times for 34 yards. So this dude was going off under pressure. I think we're going to see that again. I think we're going to see those rollouts. I actually kind of see Gabe Davis on one of those where he does that rollout and coming across the middle of the field, one of those throws across his body, because Allen, I think, has the best arm in football. This dude just throws that ball like it's like a Nerf ball. That thing just
it looks like a grapefruit in his hand, like so small.
Yeah, he just chucks that thing. I love Josh Allen this week. He's going to be getting 2-unit play from me. And looks like John's last play of this one is going to the other side, other quarterback here.
For the same reason you said all that. I mean, the Bills are probably going to light them up. So if that happens, I mean, Mahomes in a shootout, and he only needs 300 yards. I mean, that's a big number for a lot of guys. But I mean, this isn't like Tua we're talking about here. Like, this is Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a real, like, he's legit. So you're getting plus money, plus 132 for him to have a 300-yard game. I mean, in a must-win, given all the guys. The same reason you can't take a receiver. Same reason for the Bills. You know what I mean? Like, there's too many of them. Just take Mahomes. I mean, I don't even understand how this is a thing, but he played terrible against them early in the year, and he had 272, if you remember. I mean, that's just, I don't know. So I'm going to go – that's probably going to be my biggest bet of the weekend. I mean, it's going to cap off the weekend, which is nice. And if it doesn't hit, then you just go to bed. You know what I mean? So kind of works out. You don't have to watch another game after losing this one. You just go to sleep.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with both of you guys on how this game is going to go. I think it's offense right here. Like I said earlier, first team to kick a field goal loses. I've been saying that kind of as a joke all week, but I legitimately do plan on, as soon as a team kicks a field goal, I will be betting the other side of this game, because I do actually believe that. I'm with you both on these passing yards, and also just to throw one more out here too. I'm on Josh Allen rushing yards at over 50.5. I missed a nice line at 48 earlier in the week, but that's okay. I mean, let's look at Josh Allen's playoff rushing yards. He's ran for over 6 times in every single career game. He missed this only once. He had one game where he rushed 7 times for 3 yards when they were getting crushed. But that is what it is. But besides that, 66 rushing yards, 88 rushing yards, 54 rushing yards, 92 rushing yards. Josh Allen is built to carry the ball. He is a big man. He is a scary big man. There's other guys, Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Kyler. Those guys are going to run around you. Josh Allen, he's a Wyoming guy. He's going to run right through you. You know what I'm saying right here? I like Josh Allen to go over 60, over 70 rushing yards in a must-win game. These quarterbacks put their bodies on the line. Additionally, the Bills do famously play some deep safeties. You got to when you go against – the Chiefs do. You have to when you go against a guy like Josh Allen. Those safeties need to respect what he can do with his arm, like you were saying a minute ago. That opens up more rushing lanes. I think Josh Allen cruises over 50 rushing yards this week.
You can get 100 right now for plus 750. Just saying, if you like to party.
You want to go above that. Someone in my Discord this morning actually sent plus 1900 Josh Allen to lead the divisional round in rushing yards.
Ooh, that ain't bad. I mean, that's actually pretty crafty, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we're going against essentially Derrick Henry versus the field right now.
But we don't know he's playing, yeah.
Exactly. We have no clue how much he's going to play. And then Elijah Mitchell could be in a game where they fall behind instantly. And then who's your next biggest competition? Devin Singletary. Well, anyone could fucking win this thing at this point. So at 19-1, I think Josh Allen to lead the divisional round. I thought that was a very nice find.
That's very savvy. You know what I mean? I'd call that savvy bet.
Oh yeah.
That's one. I mean, you could just brag about that forever.
Yeah,
if you hit that. You know what I mean? Like you can live on that for the next
That's your pinned
years.
tweet. That's the
pinned
exactly.
tweet on your profile. Exactly. Just keep it right there. Done deal. You know what I mean? Never taking that down.
I love it, and I also think I'm actually thinking about that Mahomes one. I remember their playoff game. What was it, 2 years ago when they played the Texans with Watson and they went down like 21-3, and then all of a sudden Mahomes just says, "Okay, I'm not going to run the ball ever again." And he throws it like 50 times. They end up winning, taking the game over. It's just at any time, Mahomes can easily just pop off, and this is going to be huge.
It could be a 400-yard day and a loss. I mean, like that. I guess the thing I don't never understand is guys are like, "Oh no, I think they're going to lose." You're like, "Well, then you want his passing yards." You know, it's that's he could throw for 350 and a loss, no doubt. So. Yeah, down to 275. I also, Sheep, I just looked for Gabriel Davis. He's like 35.5 receiving yards now. So
nice.
That's moving a little too high.
Yeah, they're going crazy on that.
Sanders is at 25 now. So now I'm kind of liking Sanders.
Well, make sure you guys get all your questions in. We'll try to get to any other prop questions you guys have, and we're going to actually get to your guys' favorite part of the show, our touchdown parlay. We have a 3-leg this week. Obviously, with John throwing in his favorite one, he's actually going to be carrying us with the plus money stab here, plus 260 on Gabe Davis.
I don't see why not. I mean, I really there's no stat, there's nothing. I mean, they went to him last time. He scored. If you go through his game logs, his touchdowns have come recent. I think he's just a more trusted guy now for Allen. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's going to boil down to. You can't throw to Stephon Diggs every time. Dawson Knox, I mean, that's another one you might want to look at. But I think they're going to score 4 or 5 times, to be honest with you. So I bet you he gets one.
Yeah, no, I like this one a lot. And, the guy in the chat
I don't mind that, Paulie.
Yeah, no, I like that one too, though. I mean, this team is Vegas implied to score at least 4 touchdowns, maybe 5 in this game. Vegas obviously thinks some crazy shit's about to go down, and you might want to get a part in that. Gabe Davis had some real nice odds on his own. Dawson Knox does. I'm in for all those guys. And like you said, Davis is surging at the right time. A lot of those stats have come recently. It's clear he's kind of passed Emmanuel Sanders on the depth chart. What has Cole Beasley done for anyone anytime recently?
He's not even on the field.
Yeah.
Like if you look at his snap counts, like he's barely playing.
100%. So I'm fully on board with Gabe Davis. And yeah, do you want me to go into mine now?
Yep, you're next.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm going to hit you guys with some real hard hitting analysis right here. Derrick Henry is back. I think Derrick Henry is going to score a touchdown. I mean, I'm not sure what else I have to say right here. We've been getting kind of crazy with these touchdown parlays recently. So I had to bring us down to earth, give us really the most obvious pick possible right here with Derrick Henry to score a touchdown.
Yeah, I think minus 180 still honestly has value on it, to be honest, because how often did he score when he was in? I think he only missed like 2 games with touchdowns. So when he's healthy, he finds the pay dirt. I'm going with Adams. Just obviously, I am a Packer fan, so I'm going to roll with Adams here. He scored twice against these guys earlier in the seasons. His last 3 home games, he has 5 touchdowns. The dude is just literally finds the end zone in almost every single game. We're going to have Rodgers at home, and he has the highest matchup advantage. We might honestly probably see 16 to 18 targets to Devontae Adams. I would not be surprised. And Adams always finds his way in the end zone. So that's going to be what I am rolling with for the finisher here of the touchdown parlay. Pretty good odds at almost 9-1 for all 3 of those hit. I think we definitely got a good shot.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's
no way that loses.
Yeah, exactly. No way that one loses.
No way.
Last week we got all the shitty games out the way, right? Now we're getting offense. We're getting every game's going over. We're getting touchdowns. The prop gods owe us one this week.
Nah, this week's gonna be easy. Best week of the year.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't think we see too many other questions in here. We had a few people popping in this early and dropping some questions, but we can just do a quick recap. We're closing in on the hour. We're doing pretty good on time here. Usually we try to get around that hour time period. So we'll run through our bets here for you guys. We'll start off with John and his 2 bets for this week.
Yeah, we'll do Gabe Davis, which is literally 35.5 now, but I had 30.5. I'll go 35.5. I'd still take that. I think it's going to be that's going to be a show.
Yeah, man. Longest reception when it comes out to guys.
Yeah.
Reception.
Yep. His 2.5 receptions is at minus 125, which I don't like that, but I bet you he catches 3 balls.
Agreed.
And then I believe we have your plus money play here.
The Mahomes, that's a gift.
It does feel criminal, man.
No, seriously, I'm looking at him like that's crazy. Like that's what I'm looking at. So Patrick Mahomes in a shootout, 300 yards. It's like what's the catch? You know what I mean? You're looking, you're like, wait, is that for the first half? what do you put I'll say this. You better have another bet besides that, because that's going to be done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be going to bed like at 9:00.
Oh yeah, we need something to watch for in the 4th. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
4th quarter spread bet, maybe. I don't know. That's the only way we're going to be at it.
Better get something live. I don't know, man, but that's not going to last. Like, that's definitely not going to go the whole game.
Yeah, no, I remember earlier this season I was betting Mahomes over like 316. I was betting him over 300 in just a random game. This is a playoff game.
I don't get it.
All right, Monotone, let's get to yours, starting off with Ryan Tannehill.
Yep, so we started out with longest completion over 34.5 yards. I kind of considered even making this a bigger play. Maybe I will before we get time, before we get to kickoff time, because I do think he gets at least 1 bomb. It doesn't have to be much. This is 1 play, all we need. So next up, we got Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers in football, doing what he does. 91 yards, 95 yards, 100 yards, 120 yards. I like it all this week. And yeah, Mahomes interception. I gave a couple out at the end, kind of just a little loosely. I'll throw in one more quickly before we get off too. I like this Mahomes right here to throw an interception. I also told PPS about this right before the the stream started, I did a little same game parlay, which I normally don't do in football. You guys might not like the odds right here, but if you're talking about getting something out of the way in the first quarter, I think I found it for you guys right here. It's Alan Lazard to have 25 yards, Juwan Jennings to have 10 yards. It's minus 140. We obviously don't like the minus 140, but that's one catch for each of these two guys that have both surged a lot at the end of the year. So Jennings just had like 70 yards against the Rams a couple weeks ago. Just had 40 yards. He's hit this in like 5 straight. Cruising, hit it in 5 straight. So a little same game parlay to reward those of us that are still hanging out with us at the hour mark. We appreciate all of you guys.
For sure. I like that. Yeah, Juwan Jennings going to be tough crossing the middle there. I know he had like 3 catches last week, all of them for first downs, which was crazy. Yep. One of the crazier things I've seen is like 80% of his routes that he's caught a pass and have resulted in a first down, which is just nuts.
Yeah, they bring him. They trust him. That's what we care about. So to get 10 yards, that's 1 catch. Lazard 25 yards, that's 1 or 2 catches. I'll bet my money on that one.
I love it. I'm going to be rolling with an under, guys. I know I have to be that guy. I'm going with under 5.5 catches, minus 115 for A.J. Brown. I'm going with the double overs for Rodgers. 1 unit on completions over 24.5 and 1 on over 260.5, 1.5 units there. And then my biggest play of the week will be Allen over 278.5. Looks like we're seeing a couple people talking about FanDuel having a little bit better odds. Thank you, Nick, for dropping that. Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you. 300-yard parlay. John, what do you think about this one? We got Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Tom Brady plus 300.
Burrow, Brady.
All right, so higher.
Burrow, definitely. Josh Allen, definitely. Patrick Mahomes, definitely. And then Brady, definitely. Yeah. So, there's no way that loses.
There we go.
I just did, the mental simulations all came back, I
was going to say, we just watched him do the math. I'm good if you are.
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, now I know when you put mental sims on Twitter, I now know what it looks like when you're doing it in your head, that robot working in
it just
there.
takes a second. You know what I mean? Just run through it a couple times just to make sure, you don't miss anything.
Yeah, is Brady projected for what 300.7? Is that what you have? 0.7 or 0.8?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that he's going to get the 300.7.
Okay,
but he might get 301.
Yeah, that's true. The points are tough, man.
Or any whole number, really. He's going to end up on a whole number for sure. That's a guarantee. But no, that's only plus 300.
No, that's he put 300 yards.
That's what got me. That's why it took me so long to do that mental simulation. I was like, wait, is that even good? Why would you do that? But now, no, dude. You know what? I'm gonna put that in right now and see what.
That's probably 15-1, right? Probably.
Yeah, I would say 12.5 to 14 would be my guess.
That would have to be. Here, I'll get it real quick.
Yeah, no, do not bet that at plus 300. Also, for those of you
plus 300, that's a shitty deal.
Yeah, no, it's just, guys,
good.
Be careful. There's a lot of new bettors out here this week, and that means that these sports books are offering absolutely terrible boosts. Some of these boosts are atrociously bad. Please be very careful when you bet these, because the books know that a lot of people are kind of new this week and they're putting up some real bad lines. I saw an offensive lineman to throw a touchdown was only plus 1,000. And I was like, what? That's funny. Yeah, but it is what it is.
And I'm getting this. I'm sure you guys could do this yourself, but
I
want to see for myself.
Let's get our question in. Thank you, Nick, for dropping a question. We all kind of said we liked Cobb this week. Anybody going to add him to their card officially?
His receptions look fun. I think they're like 2.5, right?
2.5.
Yep.
That's not that bad. I kind of like Lazard's yardage too.
My problem here is I'm already on Lazard and Adams. I don't know if I can just keep. I like all these Packers receivers. I just don't know. I've already overexposed a bit to this passing game. Maybe 49ers come out and just dominate them like we're all expecting. So, a lot of stuff can happen. I don't want to go too crazy on these Packers.
All right, so it's plus 23.85.
Ooh.
Okay.
Which, that's fun.
Wow.
That's a good thing to have. But, if that feels right. Like you're like whenever like
significantly worse bets before. So
yeah, like see, here's how I always do it. Like if I'm watching it with people that don't normally gamble, and they're always like, "Hey, what did you bet?"
Oh yeah,
and like yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
exactly.
Just like that one, I don't feel that crazy about telling them. Like, because I'll tell them, "Oh man, hey, it's a crazy one," but like that one feels right. Like you don't have to explain yourself. Like whenever you're like you got something that's just off the wall, like those are tougher. That one feels right. That one's like, yeah, everybody 300 yards, and it's all gonna happen. So like, you kind of look like a genius.
I always love those with my friends when they want to watch a game with me and they know I'm doing this stuff. And their first question is why? Like, why? They always ask why I'm taking why. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and I like watch the video. I put a video out, like just watch a video. It's like,
yeah,
I don't want to
watch it. They always say, I don't know. It's just one of those things. They think you have all these stats or these reasons. And you're like, dude, they're either going to catch the ball or they're not. You know what I mean? Like, so like we're betting maybe he gets targeted more times than he doesn't, or maybe they throw the ball more than they don't. You know what I mean? That's really, they always think it's like, if a guy's gonna be hot or not. And you're like, dude, that is not even like half of it. I didn't even think about that. I just look for anytime a guy's gonna get more opportunity than he normally would, bam, now you got an over,
For sure. We'll finish up our last part here, which was our final thing, which is our touchdown parlay. I'll be rolling with Adams. Henry is with Monotone this week, and John has given us the big money play at plus 260 here on Gabe Davis, plus 874 parlay. I really, really like those.
Yeah.
Did you see this guy chirping me? He always says this every time because I usually do my plays of the day, and I'll do it right before I go to the gym. So I always wear my tank top. So every single time, every video, I'll get a comment. What tank top color are you wearing today? And so you have to throw that in. Do you guys have any shout outs you want to do, John? Appreciate you coming on here. Do you have any final words for the people this week heading into divisional playoffs, big games now?
Go to oddschecker.com. We got all our articles there. Monotone writes over there. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah, second that one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Monotone, you got anything for the people before we head off?
Yeah, I dropped another YouTube free play on my own channel. I don't do that too much. I think you put it under. It's always on Twitter. I got that Julio Jones at only 38 receiving yards earlier in this week. I put that one out real early. It's 45 in most spots. I predicted it would end at 44. So I feel great about that one. And, I just, follow me on Twitter. That's where most of the stuff runs through. And check out Odds Checker. Obviously, John does a show up there, which I popped onto earlier today. And there's a lot of great stuff over there. So definitely check all that out.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank every single one of you guys for popping on here. Remember, we have all of the links below. We have both John and Monotone spots for Twitters. All those handles, all the articles will be posted over there. So make sure you guys go follow these guys. Again, John, thank you for popping in with us. We appreciate it. You dropping some knowledge and some mental sims for us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. Best of luck this weekend.